Welcome to another installment of Did You Know with Dr. Raymond Lombard, and I'm Wessel Coetzee, and welcome to another episode. Dr. Ray, it's good to be back in the room. It's good to be back with you guys. I hope you've been enjoying all the episodes, working through the book, How to Navigate Through the End Times. I think it's been really interesting. I'm excited because I was saying this morning, we're still getting to the good parts.
Yes.
Because we've got so many good chapters coming up in this book. This, I feel like, is a warm-up to get all the, especially the things that I don't understand, out of the way, and then go into all the more, what I would say, the funner parts of the second coming and the rapture and all those things still to come. But today, last week, we spoke about the Gentile world kingdoms, the connection between Daniel and Revelation, which is really interesting. Once again, I think last week's episode, I learned a whole lot about the Nebuchadnezzar and Daniel and the beasts and the statue of Daniel and all those things. So if you haven't watched that, go back and listen to that. Because this one, we want to sort of continue on that chapter in chapter 6. But this one, I wanted to park a little bit and say, if you have a Bible with you, you can open up at Revelation 13. Because we at chapter 6, there's a few things about one world governments and one world currencies and what the Antichrist and the false prophet, what they're going to do. But in Revelation 13, which we especially in chapter 6 speak about, or Dr. Ray speaks about, I wanted to, because I read chapter 13, Revelation 13, I was like, okay, wait, there's a few questions I need to ask So, Dr. Ray, can I ask you this question?
You're welcome.
Can I ask you about Revelation 13?
Sure.
Because this is what Revelation 13 says. If you read in your Bible, it says, the beast out of the sea, the dragon stood on the shore of the sea and saw the beast coming out of the sea. Now there's a dragon and there's a beast. So first I want to know who that is. And then it had 10 horns and 7 heads and 10 crowns on its horns, and each had a blasphemous name. The beast I saw resembled a leopard and had feet like those of a bear and a mouth like that of a lion. The dragon gave the beast his power and a throne and great authority. One of the heads of the beast seemed to have had a fatal wound, but the fatal wound had been healed. Okay, so there's a lot in just the first 2 chapters.
Yes. I think.
Can you explain that just a little bit?
Yeah. The dragon is very easy. Just go to the previous chapter. Chapter 12 says, the old dragon that is called the snake, Satan, the devil. So the Bible in Revelation 12, in the previous chapter, identify who is the dragon. The dragon is a symbol of Satan, the devil himself. So that answers that. So in actual fact, when you read it again, you read, I saw the dragon and the beast. So we know who the dragon is. The dragon is the devil. So the Bible is talking about using symbolic language, the devil and the beast. Now, we also know who the beast is. Because the beast, there's 4 different aspects of the beast in the book of Revelation. It can be a kingdom, it can be a person, it can be from the abyss, one of the personalities from the abyss. Okay. Or it can be a total encompass of all the kingdoms. So it depends. The text where we read the word beast will determine, are we talking about the Antichrist, a person, or a kingdom? Okay. So it's not so easy, because you read a lot about the beast in the book of Revelation just to say it's the Antichrist. Because sometimes it's not. It is a beast coming from the abyss, which means come from the bottomless pit, while that is a satanic prince from Greece coming up in the end time. So there's different things. Okay. So the text in Revelation 13 will help us to understand, because the context will give us the context.
So here we got the dragon standing on the shore of the sea. So is this literal, like the dragon is standing on the beach?
So that's very interesting, because could it be that he's standing on the beach of the sea in Cape Town somewhere, or the Mediterranean Sea, probably? Or does it mean the peoples of the earth, between all the peoples of the earth? Because Revelation 17 says, the waters that you saw symbols the nations of the world. Okay. And the Bible talks a lot about that, like the waves of the sea is like the nations of the world when they are full of unrest. Okay. The Bible uses that symbol.
So this could be symbolic of...
Absolutely. In other words, he comes, the beast comes and the devil comes to the people here on earth. The devil has got nothing to do with the sea. What's he going to do with the sea? On the shore of the sea.
And the beast coming out of the sea. So the beast coming out of the people,
Exactly,
the nations.
exactly. So if you go to Revelation 17, it's clearly stated, and that is the water speaks of the peoples, a multitude of nations on the earth.
Okay.
It's like the sea. Now, I just want to get back to something. When you read, and I saw the beast, and he looked like a lion and a bear and a leopard.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I just want to take
10 crowns and 7 heads.
Right. That is very important because that is the lead that we're looking for.
Okay.
Because that goes directly back to Daniel chapter 7.
All right.
I actually opened my Bible there because I expected you're going to ask me that question. So I actually, in expectancy, I did it, and I was spot
Well, we're
on.
connecting Daniel and Revelation in chapter 6. So
Right, so it would be. So here's the thing. Just listen very carefully. In Daniel's vision that God gave him about the Gentile kingdoms, he saw in Daniel 7 verse 4, the first beast was like a lion. In verse 5, another beast like a bear. Verse 6, chapter 7. And I looked, and there was another beast like a leopard. And then in night visions, I saw a fourth beast. Now, so here you see, and with little horns and a big horn and 10 horns. But now, to understand this, it meant that an angel from heaven had to leave heaven, the portals of heaven, the gates of heaven, come down to earth to explain to Daniel the vision that he saw.
yeah.
It meant an angel had to come, because it says, and I wish to know the truth. So in my spirit, I was wondering about these 4 great beasts. And he was wondering, and he says, so as I was watching, I say, I heard somebody explaining to me, the 4th beast shall be a 4th kingdom on earth. So it's kingdoms. The 10 horns are 10 kings. The interpretation of these things, the 4 beasts that you saw are 4 kings.
Okay.
So there it is. So we have a person coming from heaven explaining to Daniel the lion, the bear, the 4th beast, and the leopard. They are kingdoms and kings, and the 10 horns are 10 kings. So immediately we understand from Daniel 7, this is kingdoms. So let's go now to where you read. If we now read Revelation 13, we can clearly see, he says, I saw a beast coming from the sea, 7 heads and 10 horns. So immediately I know this is to do with kingdoms.
Okay.
Explaining the beast was like a leopard. I'm back there.
Yes.
Which is Greece. So what Revelation 13 says, Greece get involved now.
Okay, so Daniel 7, speaking about 4 kingdoms,
Yes.
was speaking about kingdoms in those days.
Yes.
And now in Revelation 13, he's going to say it's like those kingdoms.
In other words, they come back in the end time.
Okay. Well, continue to explain.
Because now you see
I'm
them.
trying to understand.
Yes,
I'm getting there.
because we are still working on Gentile kingdoms of the world.
Yes.
So what happens in the end time, the focus is not on all the kingdoms of the planet. In the end time, the focus go back to the 4 original ones.
Why does it have to go back to the 4 original ones?
Because that will be the kingdom of the Antichrist, where the Antichrist will appear, and Israel is in the center of those kingdoms.
Okay.
As it was, it goes back.
Yes.
Because the stone that come from the mountain does not connect with other kingdoms of the world.
Yeah.
It connects the kingdoms that was.
All right.
Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and the Roman Empire. So now we're back there. So the beast which you saw was like a leopard, the feet like a bear, the mouth of a lion, and the dragon, the devil, gave him his power, throne, and great authority. So now what we do understand is in the end time, these 4 kingdoms that was return to the focus and end time Bible prophecy. The focus returns to them. So we know today the focus of those kingdoms is actually what we call, and we've got it in the back of the book, it's the revived Roman Empire. Because the revived Roman Empire includes the leopard, the bear, the lion, and of course the Roman Empire itself. So actually what we actually read from Bible prophecy, Wessel, is in the end time, the focus of Gentile world kingdoms will return in Bible prophecy as the place where the Antichrist will have his kingdom.
Yes.
Because they give their power to him. We've seen it in Revelation 17.
Well, it says the dragon gave the beast his power, throne, and great authority. So meaning that
The
Satan,
devil, yes.
the devil,
Yes.
will give them
The Antichrist.
authority.
No, the person, the Antichrist, which represent all the kingdoms, all the beasts.
Okay, so we're speaking about the person that represents the kingdom.
Yes, the
Okay, so it's
leader.
not the kingdoms
No.
only. Okay.
Okay, so what? Because now it changed. Because how do we know that? Because on his heads, a blasphemous name, but if you keep on reading, it says, and I saw one of the heads as if it were wounded. He says, and he was given a mouth, speaking great things. So
Okay.
that's a person. So the kingdoms became a person
Yes.
that embodied all these kingdoms.
Okay, so what does it mean that it had 10 horns, 7 heads, 10 crowns?
Yes, it has got authority and power. Like when you go to Revelation chapter 17, if you just turn around, you will see, he says, and I saw a beast that was and is not and is to come. And it says, these are 7 kings. 5 have fallen, 1 is, another is to come. And the beast that was not is the 8. And then in verse 12, the 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings. They have received no kingdom yet, but they will receive authority for 1 hour as kings with the beast. So when we talk about the heads and horns, it's all about kingdoms. And the fact that you read about the lion, the leopard, and the bear identify which kingdoms we're talking about.
Yes.
So it's all about kingdoms. And it's all about Gentile world kingdoms that will dominate in the end time. And Israel is in the middle of the focus of that.
So I'm trying to understand the symbolism. Now, I'm asking this for myself, also for people to understand this, because you go like, of course, this is what it explains.
Sure.
For us, it's like, well, so we're talking about the dragon, the devil.
Yes.
We're talking about the beast. That's the Antichrist.
Yes.
The Antichrist will, in essence, he will have
Power.
and authority, but with these 10 horns and 7 heads, meaning they have pledged allegiance to this Antichrist.
Exactly. Explaining here in Revelation 17, and the 10 horns which you saw on the beast, they gave their kingdoms to the beast until the words of God are fulfilled.
There we go. Okay. I'm trying to understand that symbolism.
Yes,
so
it's
that
very
is like,
important.
because it's not literally him with a bunch of heads, and it's
No.
symbolism of the power that the Antichrist carries.
Right. So now here, because what Wessel says is very important here, and I want him to understand. So I need to explain it very careful, not run over it. That's why we spend time on this. Today, as we sat here and we speak, kingdoms are divided. In the Middle East, in North Africa, and in Europe. I mean, England, Brexit, even left Europe. Don't want to be part of it.
Russia, Ukraine.
Okay, but they weren't part, Russia and Ukraine weren't part of the kingdoms of the Gentile kingdoms.
Okay, so you're looking at everyone that was part of this.
That is
the
what's
old
important.
empires
That is
or
what's
kingdoms.
important. We can't go out of that. The moment you go out of it, you mix it.
Okay.
So you can't mix it.
And we actually have it in the back of the book where the kingdoms were and
Very,
who's
important.
included.
Very important.
Okay.
Because that is crucial, Wessel. That is why we put it in the back of the book.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that will be the combined pagan world empire.
Of the Antichrist.
Okay.
So all that heads, all that kingdoms, there is in one picture. Clearly,
Where all the 7 heads and horns
kingdoms and where they are.
where they all come from.
Exactly.
Go look in the back of your book.
Exactly. So once you understand that, then you understand These are the kingdoms that the Antichrist will have at his disposal for his world power or world dominion.
Okay.
And who are they? North Africa, Europe, most of Europe, of course, Spain, England, all inclusive, as well as we've seen, Turkey, Greece, and the Middle Eastern countries, Iran, Iraq, Syria, all those, Saudi Arabia, all those countries will be under his power. So what we actually find in Revelation 13, in the first part, is the Antichrist going for world dominion, world power.
Yes.
Now, Jesus said in John chapter 5, I have come, but you did not accept me to the Jews. But when somebody comes in his own name, you will accept him.
Okay.
And they will, one day. They will accept the Antichrist in the first part of the 7 years because he makes a peace treaty with all their enemies and all the nations that hate them. And so they will like him very much until he go in the middle of the 7 years to sit in a temple and says, I'm God. Then they realize, wrong guy.
Okay, quickly explain that because we are going to get to the full rapture, 7-year tribulation.
Yes.
But because we're at the beginning of the book, I want to quickly...
Yeah, because this is the time of the forming of the kingdoms.
Yes, but when do we see the Antichrist? When is this happening where Satan is looking at the seas of the people?
It can only happen after the rapture.
Okay, just to get a timeline.
Yeah, for the timeline. So what we said, that's what I'm trying to say.
We won't see the Antichrist today. He might be alive.
Yeah,
but he's
and he will walk around, maybe be on television. We didn't know.
But he doesn't have his power and authority yet.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So it can only happen when the kingdoms, they all give their power and their allegiance to this one person. Now, if you look at on the world stage today, what's happening in Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East, all the nations are one against the others. Everyone goes for his own thing. And this is a problem because this is the 10 toes of the statue that we saw of Daniel. Because the 10 toes encompass Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and the Roman Empire. They're all part of this revived Roman Empire. So what we're actually seeing today is how these nations position themselves.
Yes. It's almost playing out as
the whole
positioning
time
happening.
But yes.
But it's not established yet because
exactly.
the significance of what we believe about the rapture means the church will be taken away.
Yes, but also the Bible said, I read it to you in Revelation 7, God has to put it in their hearts to all work for the same purpose. Haven't happened yet.
Yes, because the church is still here as well.
That's why God didn't put it in their heart.
Yeah, but
So
the day the church is gone,
then they all have to come together under the power of Satan.
but you can already see it happening.
That's it.
But the church is still here.
Yes.
We're still functioning.
Yes.
We're still doing nothing. But there's going to be a
Exactly.
whole different world. The day the rapture happens, the church is gone, these things are going to start falling into place.
Absolutely.
Well, it's already falling into place, but
Yes.
it will just be activated. And
Exactly, because what will activate it? What will activate it is when the person comes to the fore that will make a 7-year covenant with Israel and all his enemies and the nations that hate them, that will say, continue, go on and build your temple.
yes.
So the dragon needs to get involved to give his power to a man that will accomplish the dragon's purposes.
Yes.
He found the man, the Antichrist. He found Jesus and he offered him the kingdoms of the world. And Jesus said, go away.
Yeah.
He offered it to the Antichrist and he says, I'll take it.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Okay. So I think that is good establishing that. Of that, I've got a better understanding now.
So can I say, verse 1 to verse 10 of Revelation 13 talks about the one world government. In other words, because they come together. Now, when I say one world government,
Yes.
we're not there yet. And there's never going to be a one world government. The time wouldn't allow it. But there is the looking for, chasing towards, reaching out
Yeah.
to a one world government. Let me put it this way. If the rapture, after the rapture, the Antichrist takes his power and he can get all those kingdoms that you saw just now at the back of the book, the Roman Empire, the Grecian Empire, all those empires, and if he could be let loose in time, he could take over the world.
Yes.
but it's not going to happen because there's no time. So this brings us to the second part of Revelation 13, because you said, if we talk about Revelation 13, what is important? What is very, very important is the second stage of Revelation 13. It talks about a one world religion.
Okay.
Because it says, then I saw, verse 11, another beast coming out of the earth. Okay, so we had the Antichrist, but suddenly here's another person.
So you're saying that the first part of Revelation 13 was the one world government?
Under the Antichrist.
Yes, okay. So we have 6.4 here in that chapter, and it's actually a lot to read. So
Yes,
people, you can go read more up into that.
absolutely.
And then we get to the one world religion, which is the second half of Revelation 13.
Yeah, exactly. So now we move.
Tell us more about that.
Yes, because now if we say, how will the government of the Antichrist look like in the end time? We say there's three legs, three pillars.
Yeah.
One world government, or political, military stronghold in his kingdom, Antichrist. But then there has to be religion and there has to be economy.
Mm-hmm.
Your life, it's about government, it's about religion, and about economy.
Yeah.
You can't take anyone out of it because somebody will reign over you.
Yeah.
You live in any country's got a government. We're all under a government.
Yeah.
Democracy or dictatorship, call it what you want. So what we see here is the government aspect.
Okay.
But now we go to the religious aspect. And when it gets to the religion, this person that appears
Now
from
I
the
saw
earth.
a second beast coming out of the earth.
Yeah, the earth, not from heaven. Jesus came from heaven because this is a false prophet. The Bible says he will make the first beast. He will make that people worship the first beast. So
Okay.
his aim is the Antichrist must be worshipped. So we are now on the level of religion, because how can we see it? He performed great signs. That's religious.
Yeah.
He even makes fire come down from heaven like Elijah. That's a prophet. And he deceives those who dwell by the signs and make them to worship the image of the beast. He was granted power and make that people will fall down, and many would not worship the image of the beast. They would be killed. So it's enforced religion.
Yeah.
So what we have here is the second part is one world religion.
And he's going to do incredible things.
Absolutely.
Bringing fire down from heaven.
So
in
that's
full
what the
view-
prophet does.
In full view of the people.
Yes.
The science was given power to perform on behalf of the... So he's
Yes.
like, I've got this power
Yes.
because of the Antichrist.
Yes. And he supports, he's a lieutenant.
Yeah.
He says, he's the man, he's the one. We must worship him.
Okay.
He even make an image of the beast.
And this is the false prophet.
That's the false
preaching
prophet
this.
preaching it.
Okay.
So now we have a false prophet. And the Bible actually calls him by name, the false prophet. You see it here, where it says in Revelation chapter 16, verse 14. And these are spirits coming out of the mouth of the beast, the Antichrist, and out of the mouth of the false prophet, the second beast.
Yeah.
He's called the false prophet.
That's the second beast.
And even in Revelation chapter 19, he is called the false prophet, is cast into the lake of fire. So this beast from the earth is a religious figure that will appear on earth, supporting the Antichrist, sell him to the people, and then pushes them to the boundary that if you don't fall down and worship him, you will be killed.
Yeah.
You will be martyred.
What is this that he said he will have power to give breath to the image of the first
Yes.
beast?
In other words, he has power to give life to a dead image that image can speak. A spirit. So it is evil spirits. Remember, in Revelation chapter 12, Satan and the fallen angels are all thrown from heaven on earth. They're here.
Yeah.
So he will entice one of them to become part of. He was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast. So they make an image.
So that he could speak.
Yes.
If you refuse to worship that image, you'll be killed.
Right. And so you will see in Revelation 20 verse 4, it says, and I saw those that were beheaded, they were killed, because they did not worship the beast or his image, and they did not receive a mark on their forehead or hands, and they were killed In other words, people will really be killed if they don't fall down and worship. So what you actually have here, you have Satan giving his power to a man, the Antichrist, a figure of authority. Then you have Satan giving his power to a man called the false prophet to do all these miracles and signs and mislead the people of the earth to follow the Antichrist.
Yeah.
So what are we actually talking about? What we're actually talking about is we're talking about world power and world religion at the end time.
Yeah.
And if you're not part of it, you will be killed.
And if you're not part of that, because I'm reading the next, you cannot be part of the economy.
That is what happened exactly. Because now, how will you buy and sell? Now he goes to this, quite right. He says, verse 16, and he causes all, both in small and great, rich and poor, doesn't matter if you've got money or not, free and a slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their
So
forehead.
that's when they say the mark of the beast.
The mark of the beast.
And
And
that can only happen in a 7-year tribulation.
Exactly.
It's not going to,
because the kingdoms still need to be formed.
Yeah. So they could not buy, sell unless they had the mark.
Yes.
And then,
Or the name of the beast.
and
Or
the
the
name,
number of his name.
and that's where the 666 comes from.
That's the number.
Ooh, now it's all coming together.
Now you understand. So now, how does the Antichrist and the false prophet get power over people? By forcing all of humanity in their kingdom, especially in their kingdom, to have a name, a mark, or the emblem, or the mark, or the number of the beast.
Yeah.
Now here's the interesting thing, Wessel. We don't know the name.
Yeah.
And we don't know the mark. We only know the number.
Yeah.
666, 666. That's the only thing God gave us.
And if you're questioning that today, you would just have to ask the question is, have I taken the mark today? Do I live with the 666 in essence? It's like, only if you denounce your faith in Jesus, because you have to worship the image of the Antichrist.
Yes, and it's not here yet.
Yeah.
So in other words, so if I have the 666 on a bank card,
Yeah.
that's not giving my allegiance to the Antichrist.
Yeah. But in those days, you're going to be like, I'm going to worship this image so that I can trade and be part of the economy.
Then you
Otherwise,
have to
you'll die.
receive.
You'll have to die for your faith.
You will have to.
Yeah.
Because now you can say, oh, I will not accept the 666. Well, okay, maybe you don't accept the 666, but what you will have, the problem that you will have, is what about the name or the mark of the beast? People will think, I'm not going to take 666, but I will take the name or the mark. Now, our current bank industry in the world, of this world, is going to a era where you don't need money anymore. It's all electronically done or by a chip.
Yeah.
So in other words,
Cashless society.
we are going into a cashless society. So the question is, how far are we down the line for the cashless society? That's the question. And the answer is we're very close.
Yeah.
Because in some countries, I mean, you don't use cash anymore. You use your card. Or you use your phone.
Use your phone for everything.
Yes. So all what's going to happen is, no. We put a chip on your right hand or on your forehead, and you will just use that to do your payments.
Wow. So you're looking at Revelation 13. This was really insightful because you're looking at Revelation and you're seeing the kingdoms moving. You're seeing the religion being able to be played off as it needs to be. And then you see how the economy can switch to one world economy.
And we're already there. For economy, we're nearly
if it all
there.
needs to happen today, it can happen.
Yes. In other words, this discussion we're having now, if we had it 50 years ago, it would only be talk. Because when you read Revelation 13 just now, you said, and you read, and so they worshipped the dragon and gave authority. How can the whole world see the dragon, the beast, if you don't have an iPhone?
Because it says in full view of the whole world.
So how will the whole world see him? Television?
Cell phones.
Cell phones?
Yeah.
iPhones, Android phones, smartphones. So what I want to say is the technology is there for what we've read in Revelation 13 to take place, to move to the next phase any moment.
Sure. There we go.
So if we can capsulate what we've discussed here, is world governments, according to the Bible in Revelation 13, busy finding their place according to the statute of Daniel 2 and according to the beast that Daniel saw in Daniel 7? Yes, sir. We are moving very close to where they are busy forming. But because iron and clay don't mix, so it's very tough. Not all of them want to work together. That's why God has to put it in their heart by a miracle that they can fulfill His purpose, and that has not happened yet. But what we are currently seeing is a forming of these kingdoms, number one. Secondly, the one world religion, where there will be a person appearing and forcing everybody to worship this person. Now, the Antichrist will go and sit in the temple and say that he's God in the middle of the 7 year. We're not there yet. And of course, the one world economy, that the economy of the world is such a state today that we can talk about the cashless society. So my question is, are we on a verge of a one world government, a one world religion, one world economy? And the answer is yes.
That's true.
That's where we are.
Sure. There we go.
That's where we are.
That was a whole lot more that I got of it than I thought I was going to get it. Wow, that was really good.
I'm happy for you.
Thanks, Dr. Ray. I hope that was insightful to you as well. Wow, I would have never read Revelation 13 like that, trying to understand the beast and the sea and the things that you've pulled out of Daniel or Revelation 17 and putting it all together. So that was amazing. Let's put our hands together.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Ray. That was amazing. I hope that was helpful to you as well. Hope you have your book. We are going to continue on to chapter 7 next time we all get together. And we're going to get Dr. Ray to go through all of those things and explain it to us as well.
Thank you so much, and thanks for joining us. God bless.
Thanks, guys. See you at the next episode. As always, you can like and subscribe. Send this to your friends if this was insightful. And yeah, see you at the next episode.